Hi everyone, welcome back to the Ministry of Guitar. This is Utkarsh. Just before everything else, the Dream Guitar experience is now open. Basically, you get to play the entire collection in this room, 72 guitars, quite a few high-end guitars from PRS, Fender Custom Shop, Gibson Custom, in the comfort of a studio with great tube amps. Basically, like a guitar shop, but no pressure to buy and all the time in the world for you to try everything out. That's the Dream Guitar experience. Anyways, so this is not about the Dream Guitar experience, but this is important because the Dream Guitar experience is something that needed to happen for this next thing to begin. So, for those of you who watch this YouTube channel, and I'm guessing there's about 9,000 of you who see it every 90 days, maybe 1,000 something of you are subscribed. This is a guitar collection channel. This is a guy on the internet with a bunch of guitars. And while that is correct, that is not entirely what this was supposed to be or what I wanted necessarily in my head. So, to understand where this channel and where I'm going to go next in this musical journey really requires going back almost 20 years. So, I started playing guitar in end 2004, just when I entered university. I was inspired by watching my roommate play Anybody Is There Anybody Out There by Pink Floyd, and then a band in my university, NTU, Nanyang Technological University in Singapore, where they played incredible. I think they played Master of Puppets, Wake Me Up When September Ends. This is 2004, and a few other songs. And it was the first live band I'd ever seen in my life. It was crazy. So the journey started in 2005 and late 2004. I got a cheap acoustic guitar in India, a Gibson, not a Gibson, a Gibson, a copy. I think it cost about 800 rupees, which would be about, how much is that? Maybe 1,000 rupees, which was at that time US dollar was maybe about 20 US dollars probably. And then 4 months later, once I had learned the guitar enough and I knew that I was going to stick to it, I got myself my first electric guitar, Epiphone Les Paul, for the princely sum of 600 Singapore dollars, or about 400 US dollars with case. So that's where the journey began. And in university, when you start playing guitar, you often either you stick with it, and when you stick with it, or you don't. And when you stick with it, you tend to become something, right? Either you become a virtuoso, you become really good at the instrument. Maybe you use the guitar to be a singer-songwriter, or maybe just a singer to accompany yourself. For me, the journey really took me down the road of becoming a songwriter. I think I always had a tendency to create songs and stuff, being a writer. When I say writer, not songwriter, but a literal writer from a young age. So essentially, all I did in university was attend a few classes to get by and sit and write songs all day. And over a period of maybe 3 years in university, since I started playing the guitar, I ended up writing about 70 to 100 songs, something like that. Which, since I was a free university student with not much of a social life, I had actually had the time to sit and transcribe to Guitar Pro. So, sitting in my computer since 2005, 2008 is a bunch of about 70 to 100 songs, all transcribed on Guitar Pro, which have not seen the light of day. So what happened since 2008 is, of course, this was not that I intended to keep them in the computer. Life happened, work happened, career happened. And since 2015, honestly, I've been distracted. It's been very nice, this journey of getting into guitars, understanding how to get a good guitar tone, understanding how to produce a song, how to use Logic, how to use whatever, right? How to do double tracking, understanding the difference between a PRS and a Gibson, and all of the stuff that we all do as gear heads or gear nerds. But the reality is that is not simply who I am. And while over here we have the Dream Guitar experience and the Ministry of Guitar, which is not going anywhere, it's time for this journey to take a slightly different angle. And the angle is, it's going to be all about the music. I'm going to finally produce those, and I'm going to be picking about 11 of my favorite songs from about the 70 or 100 that I wrote back in university, and I'm going to produce them. This is not going to be a fetishized equipment kind of thing. Okay, for this song, I'm going to search for the perfect guitar and I'll get that perfect tone. Like with those songs, I literally used one guitar, my beautiful Epiphone Les Paul. In fact, let me just get that out in a second. So here we are. This is the case with a lot of Indian Airlines and whatever tags on it, because I used to use it in university, then I took it back home to India, then I used it there. Been battered, the case is broken. Oh, I haven't opened this in a while. Hopefully it survives. Okay, the case is falling out. Excuse me, but here we go. All those songs, and practically the only guitar for my first 10 years of my guitar playing life was this Epiphone Les Paul. Point is, you don't need a bunch of equipment. You don't need to necessarily mess around with 25 different tunings and this pickup and that pickup. You basically just need a guitar that works with some equipment and you can write. So what I'm going to do over here, and what the next few videos on this channel are going to be is, let me put this down so that you have less noise. All right. So what I'm going to essentially be doing is I'm only going to be having a couple of guitars, and that's what I need. I'll tell you why in a second. And we're going to go through the process of sitting and finally turning these 20-year-old songs into a well-produced album of today by myself, right? And I have the advantage. I have the songs that I wrote as a 20-year-old, maybe, yeah, I'm 37 now, so 17-year-old songs. But I have the skills that I have learned over the last, 10 years. I'm a much better guitar player than I was in 2006, 2008. But the songs have been written without the embellishments of today, right? Today you are, as a guitarist, you're often forced to go in directions, or naturally go in directions where you see popular music going today. You may get influenced by a polyphia, a periphery. This has got none of that. This was all written 10 years before those were even a thing or whatever. So it's going to be quite fascinating. I'm also going to take you through my journey of what guitars I'm going to use, what equipment I'm going to use, and a little bit like, I think, two channels out there. There is 5 Watt World, which is getting the most music out of the least gear, as well as, for those of you who are into baritone guitars, a smaller channel called Bun, which is about a 50-year-old guy finally starting a solo sludge death metal career, and also his minimalistic setup. The setup's going to be very, very simple. So let's get into the setup. Then I'm going to get into a few of the songs. And this is, of course, just the first video. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do a weekly update where we're going to go through the song. We're going to go through a little bit how, of course, this is still a guitar channel, so I'm going to keep it about how I'm going to be incorporating the guitars into the different songs that are coming. But it's only going to be very limited equipment. So there are 2 guitars that I'll be using. This is the first one. This is, yes, of course, I just talked about minimalism and then I got out this beautiful, crazy, outrageous guitar. There's a very good reason for it. This is my own, not designed, but spec'd PRS McCarty 594. And this has everything I require. And, this was spec'd out in 2019. I got the guitar in 2020. After 13 years of playing guitar, I kind of knew what I wanted. And this has all of that. So this is like a Les Paul in that it's a 25.594 scale length. It's a thick single cut body. It has a low output neck humbucker because the Les Paul neck tone is really what I like. It has a high output bridge Tremonti humbucker because I do like that kind of a sound. It has a tremolo, it has a piezo, and that's all you need to know about it. And it does split coils and it does blends for piezo and electric. So basically everything that I need. What it doesn't do is it doesn't do a pure single coil sound. And the bridge pickup is quite powerful. And what I found is the tones that I like the best are this bridge pickup blended with another kind of sound. And that brings me to my second guitar, which gives me the single coil and the second bridge pickup sound that I like for blending. This is a 2005 513 Rosewood. Ironically, from the same year I started playing electric guitar, so that's great. Some provenance there. So this guitar will give me the single coil sounds that I require. For those of you who don't know what a 513 is, link to the video below. This will give me all the single coil sounds I require. And what this has is this has an overwound bridge humbucker sound. It's called a heavy humbucker sound. It's different from any other humbucker out there. All I can tell you is it blends perfectly with the Tremonti in that 594. And when I put pan left, pan right, and you do know that typically it's good practice to have slightly different tones. You get a bit more spatial quality. It is the most incredible rhythm sound ever. So that's what I'm going to be using. I'm going to be using these 2 guitars with my Helix. The Helix has everything I need. What I've also done, and I'm going to show you right now in a second, is I have put together, I'm not going to be tone sculpting for 25 years, trying to figure out, okay, let's get this thing right. Let's put a little EQ there, little EQ there. No. I have distilled down my requirements into a little pedal board, which is a combination of the Helix with a couple of other external pedals. And I'm going to just show you that in a second and talk about what are the sounds that you're going to see. So we shift over to iPhone camera mode. You see this beautiful Hughes & Kettner Triumph Mark III with this beautiful Strymon pedal board over here. This is for the Ministry of Guitar. This is for you to try out all those crazy guitars out there. For the purpose of music production, however, it's just going to be this. So I have my Helix. Learned a lot. I've had this guitar for 6 years now, I think, ever since they came out. Forgotten how many years. And I have 4 sounds essentially. Clean preset, Mar preset, which is a low gain Marshall, high preset, which is basically super high gain, like a little bit like a EVH, but I use the Line 6 Badonk. And then what I call the Fry preset is just like a Friedman, almost mid gain, not mid, slightly highish gain, Mastodonish gain preset. Those are the 4 that I need. Essentially, those are the 4 sounds. So I get the perfect rhythm sound, perfect. And one thing I realized with rhythm guitars is you don't need that much gain. Lesser the gain, the better. So this works really well for that. Then I'm going to be having the lead sound with this, or sometimes I need really heavy rhythm, dirty rhythm, maybe that would work here. And what you can do with the Helix, of course, is you can put, a bunch of pedals in here. So I have a phaser, little bit of clonish boost for the clean. I have a standard reverb, but in the loop, what I also have is, I have 2 reverb pedals, Oceans 12, as well as a Strymon Night Sky. And in the front of the amp, or the Helix, I have a Julia vibrato. Those are some of the sounds I really like, that I end up using. Those are part of my sound. And yeah, so I showed you the clean patch, but similarly for the Marshall, same thing. I have the delay is coming straight from the Helix. What I found is I really like the delays in the Helix, but I don't really get the reverb sound that I want. Nothing beats a Night Sky. And then the Ocean Swell really is there for a very specific spring reverb sound that I really like. Yeah, so that's it. Now, I do love all these Strymons as well, and the overdrives that I can get. But reality is that for recording, I have worked on these patches for years and years, and I've worked on many, many patches. These 4 is the culmination of everything that I've learned. So yeah, so that's it. That is the equipment that will be used. From a guitar perspective, I will also be using I won't really use this. I will need to do a lot of keyboards. I will actually get out my Yamaha keyboard, but this is anyway a guitar channel, so we won't get into that. So yeah, so that's it. So this is the first video. And just the last note before we sign off, the name of the album is going to be called Made in Nanyang, because it was made in Nanyang Technological University, which is where I'm from, in Singapore. So next video will probably be showing off the songs and kind of doing a little bit of unearthing. Let's do some archaeological unearthing to find those 20-year-old songs. All right, till next time.